Structuralism by Maureen Lynch.
Before we start actually talking about structuralism, you're going to need to know some certain terms, like analyzing, interpreting, and cognition. Analyzing is examining the structure or results of something, interpreting is explaining the meaning of something, and cognition is the mental actions of understanding and gaining knowledge from something, and understanding from something.
Structuralism is mainly focused on the adult brain and having methods of analyzing and interpreting aspects of human behavior, cognition, and experiences that focus on relationships, contrasting elements of conceptual behavior and how they act, proving underlying diversity. Structuralism was founded in Germany and it was challenged in the 20th century, but it was made as a way to connect trauma or past events to your current actions. So the goal of structuralism was to pretty much take different events in your life and different traumas in your life that form different traits and how you act now. And some examples of that would be describing an apple, or more like in depth with what you would do is describing a trip or a vacation or an event in your life. Wilhelm Wundt founded structuralism, distinguished psychology, and it sought to analyze the adult mind. Now, looking at Edward Titchener, he studied under Wilhelm Wundt for years, but he's best known for his version of structuralism that is used today, and structuralism was mainly identified by Edward instead of Wilhelm, but that is who it was founded by. Finally, there's Margaret Washburn, and she tried to link structuralism and behaviorist traditions and made the motor theory, which states that the thought or consciousness could be seen in different movements and different actions that you performed.
When you talk about experiments for structuralism, the main experiment that became famous was introspection, and that is when you take a careful set of observations and you take trained observers that have studied this type of experiment before, studied this type of set before, and you have extremely controlled conditions controlled by the scientists, and you experiment how and you test how people react and how the observations go. Now, from introspection and how all the experiments played out, they've done multiple experiments with introspection, observing multiple different things from just plain events that have scarred you to actual trauma in your life. And they have made multiple strides and progress in psychology with structuralism, and it really helps them to understand more of the adult brain and how it truly does take past events, and those past events and the past traumas that you have experienced does start to affect your everyday actions and your everyday emotions that you now face in your present life.
When asking a question about psychology, you must answer who, what, when, and where. So a possible question that you might ask when talking about structuralism is, how does the past events in an adult brain affect their actions now? Because it answers the who, what, when, where, and why. And that is all you need to know about structuralism. I hope you learned a lot, and thanks for listening.